Well, again, my name is Adobody, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial today or a masterclass on how to incorporate AI within your AR workflows. And not like how we did with Meshi, not how we did with, even the image generation. This is going to be pure code. It's going to be Python script. And we're going to use, as you probably guessed, Claude to do this. And there's other ones that could do it too. And I'll go over that later as well, because they're definitely worth mentioning. And Claude's not the only one who could do this. There's like so many models that can do it. But the idea is um, you want to get away from, because a lot of people, when they use Claude to make anything inside of Blender, they kind of do what I did with the skull. They'll say, make a skull, right? And then it'll take 20, 30 minutes and Claude does nothing. I mean, it'll finally say, it's like, oh, I got my skull for you. You pop it into Blender, or it's just not right. It does not look anything that it's supposed to. So I found, instead of fighting the LLM, I wanted to meet it where it was. And this is not my technique. This is something I've seen, and obviously I've been utilizing it more and more, um, and kind of honing in so that I can get what I want out of it without having to wire this up, all, you know, I would say, all by hand, because that is a pain. And it's not too crazy once you get used to it, but this kind of skips so many processes. So without further ado, let me see here. Just want to make sure I have everything lined up real quick. Okay, so I figured with this one, it might be worth going into even the version of Claude that I'm using. Um, and also, yeah, if that wasn't very clear before, particle systems, AI, using script, Python script to create visuals that really, it's the whatever you can dream of at a certain point when you get really good at it and able to harness what the AI output is doing. Um, so yeah, let me see here. Now, again, like I was saying, this can be done on a lot of different LLMs. We're just going to use Claude. And if you guys don't know, if you use Claude in its normal window, like the normal Claude window, like this one, uh, just sign in. Yeah. Okay. So this is the normal window that everyone's usually used to. I would never touch this with a 5-foot pole, because it's just going to tear through your credits, or not credits, because you don't got, if you have a subscription, it's not like you have a finite amount of API tokens, right? But which, if anybody doesn't know what API tokens are, it's basically uh, the the language or the fuel that models are built from. So think of it like, um, uh, yeah, there's I forgot my train of thought, but yeah, freaking when you use Claude Code. Okay, let me start that all over again. So when you're in this area right here, it's going to be using up all your time, and it's going to be you not taking, you're not going to get much from it, and it actually will rate limit you artificially. If there's high moments like at 12 or 150 or something, it's different from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is, you can go on forever and ever. Same thing with Gemini, not Claude. And here's the death trap. Don't use this, because this is their consumer facing version of Claude, which is still incredible, but get ready to be timed out after like 3, 4 responses. Anyways, long way to put this together to just show what you really want is this. This is Claude Code. Now, why Claude Code is so much better, in my opinion, or it's just factually better, is that with the subscription, you are um, when you're on that normal window that we were just on, you're getting artificially rate limited. You're getting all kinds of stuff here. this is compared to the Claude Code. Claude Code, it's actually going to have a lot more. Um, it's transparent in how many tokens it uses, so it'll tell me what it's using, and and I'm not being artificially rate limited. I say all this, and I know it's a big lead up, but it's such important information that's going to get you on the flow with working with Claude rather than fighting against it. Um, there's like small decisions that could be made ahead of time that build up, and they make an accumulative effect. Um, so right here, right off the bat, if you want, and this is another thing, if you want to explore, if you want to experiment, you got to do it with Claude Code because if you do it in the normal window, you'll get somewhere and you'll get so close and then bah, it says, sorry, you have to wait like 3 hours. Oh, sorry, come back tomorrow. Ugh, it's crazy. I've only hit well, I shouldn't say yeah. I hit it quite often, but it's like it doesn't happen often to even with Claude Code. It just, it's a little trick. I think it's because they want Claude to be more developer facing in many aspects, and they want more people building on it. So it's a lot more friendly towards um, those crowds like devs, where they want to bring them in and have them be a part and create and building on it. But and then they also have the consumer facing part, which is where most people are going to trying to chat like with normal chat GPT, switch the Claude Code, and when you're in the Claude Code, it's an agent. It can do all kinds of stuff, but we're not going to get into that. All I want to do is show you the power of language. Because before, like I was saying, I was trying to get it to do the visuals. I was trying to get it to do something that it was not like, I would say, built for. Right. Um, let's see. Go back over here. Right, perfect. Okay, so just like in every other thing, and by the way, we're in Blender right now. I'll go back to everyone can follow along. I don't know if everyone saw that, but I pretend like we just opened up Blender. I'm gonna press A, and then I'm gonna press X in the center part right here, because that's the viewport display. Press delete, everything's gone. We got a clean scene now. Now, the next thing I want to do is actually go straight
We
into.
can't see your seat.
Huh?
You can't see your screen. We lost your screen.
Oh, you can't. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Perfect. Thank you so much for telling me. Okay, so right now, since we're in, okay, yeah, that's a good way to always know if it's not popping up from the side. Um, so at this point, we have an empty scene, very easy. And instead of adding in an object that we would normally do or any of that stuff, remember I was telling you about Blender? Don't have to worry about everything. You just got to know what you need. And in this situation, I want to bring your attention to the top here where we have all these different tabs. We got rendering, window, help, modeling, sculpting. Oh my gosh. You don't need to know all that. Well, all we're going to do is go straight to the scripting. And that's where we can put in Python code that's being generated by Claude Code, or if you're a number of LLMs. But I do find Claude to be the most capable. I mean, obvious. It's just incredible what you can do with it. So let's see here. I'm gonna press new. And then what I'm going to do is show you. It's going to be a funny workflow today. It's in the weeds, and it's all AI prompting and how to push it to give you what you want. So let's go back over to Claude Code. Now check this out. I'm going to say make me. No, and one more thing. How about this? Um, one of the things that's also important. Um, shoot, my chips. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect. Just remind myself. I wanted to say this real quick. When you are doing the scripting and doing Python scripts with Blender, um, or with AI, so like with Claude, it's um, it's really important that um, Oh yeah, yeah. There we go. It's really important that you want to make sure that that uh, that you are. Uh, so sorry. Um, you're learning the vocabulary of Blender, right? That's excuse me. I was just getting a uh, had a night last night that was doing some work. Um, but anyways, yeah. So what do you want to really do when you're inside of this inside of Blender? Is that you know you want to really become familiar with some of the terms. So if you try, like I said, to make a skull, take these headphones off too. I think they're messing with me. It's like I can hear myself talking with them on. It's bad. Turn these off. There we go. Much better. I can hear. It's hearing myself talk. Let me turn these off real quick. So sorry about that delay. Okay, and then make sure the sound's coming out through here real quick. It sounded like a good idea to me at the time, but I don't really talk with those headphones in too much. Sound. Just bear with me. I'm so sorry. And MacBook Pro speakers. Okay, cool. Put beautiful. Okay, so it's going to pay to know some, um, vocabulary or some parts of the Blender workflow. Um, and I'll go straight into it by, like I said, not instead of generating or having it make the mesh or forcing an LLM to create something that, we could do in 2 seconds, especially with Meshy or any of those types of things. That's not what we want it for. We want it for procedural systems. And we wanted to create procedural animations, procedural, like, so anything. So let me show you what I mean by procedural. So if you go to the top right corner right here and you pull this off to the side, ready? Then if you go over to the shader editor, you'll notice that if I make a new material, right? I'm sure everyone's seen this before. I just want to go over it again real quick. Let me just add a mesh too. And then I'm going to go over here, color. Right. So this, just want to just do that real quickly so you could see what I mean. This shader editor, a lot of the settings, you're already seeing it over here. So you don't have to really go out into this mode too much. And again, I don't want to confuse too much, but this is one of the ones where you can get in the weeds. Like if you're trying to make a texture, you can put, um, all kinds of stuff to this to make it color RAM. Point being, that takes a long time. It's like a whole web. You have to set these things up. It's very based on logic. You have to really think it through. It's very fun. Definitely great to do, but it is very time consuming. And it's also, I feel like with the way things are moving, it might be it's good to learn everything traditionally first, but man, might be the new way. It's just going so fast and it's getting so good. I create my own models. Yeah, said this in the last one. I models, texturing, all that stuff. It's at a point where it's like the starting point that it gives me is just so incredible, and sometimes it's a one shot and I'm good. So these are those systems I was telling you about. This is so with this, you have a whole range of things. Excuse me, this is terrible. Let me just do color out. Boom. Let me put that here. Let me just show you how long it would take. And then we want, what do you want? A noise, right? So if you don't know about procedural animations, this might look very intimidating to you. Even though it's just 4 nodes. The 4 nodes in themselves can be, like you got to know where to point it in. You got to know where its outputs are. You got to know if there's feedback, if it can do a factor or not. You start learning. You start noticing the difference between the lines. Some are green, some are yellow. They all have different meanings. Um, this is the weeds. This is what I mean by, you can get, and that's what, professionals in the industry having the best textures that are super optimized. It could run on a freaking toaster. Um, it's a lot to do with this part right here, where people are just optimizing baking, um, and then, but at the same time, it can get very complex. And now we're going to test out what we can do. So so we could just do material. That's neat. I like that. It works. But I think something more packed and more punched, I think you guys are going to like even more, is some particle systems. So I'm going to go over here to geometry nodes editor. So this is what's going to take us here to geometry node editor. So if anybody's like me, they're a little bit slow to get to geometry nodes. It's something that, you can only learn so much at a time. And Blender's one of those things. It's like a lifelong journey, I feel like. Um, but either way, geometry nodes are incredible. They're just flat amazing. You can do just the most wild scenes ever, and totally in geometry nodes and how it's programmed and everything. However, this is a big caveat, and this is where everyone's ears need to listen really hardcore, because when you go to export this, um, you have to make sure that you're not animating any of the geometry nodes itself. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll show you the whole step process and why one leads to another. But let's just show you the workflow first, and then we can start picking it apart or adjusting it. So now that you got the understanding of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and also that we're going to be going into geometry nodes, let me show you a prompt that should work. Make me a let's see here. Oh yeah, Geo- particle system, and with on, and then plus Blender. Okay. And then, right, let's see. I think we can add something. Yeah. Make the stars low poly. And um, let's see, what else could we throw in here? Yeah, I mean, it starts off simple like this, and this is where I wanted to show this workflow is you can, after you see what it generates and how it goes, you can always add to it. You can adjust it, steer it in any which way you want. But just let's see how this one goes. Let's see how what we get. So I have make a geometry node particle system in width. I know I don't need to have to do that, but just for um, make a geometry node particle system with Python and Blender. Make the stars low poly. So I'm already from the get-go wanting it to be optimized. I don't want some super polished spheres. They're going to be tiny little crystal shards. So these can be actually the smallest vertex count that you can do, and that's one of the tricks. And you have hundreds and thousands of those all flying around you. Um, sorry, forgot to press send. Um, yeah, you're not worried about if it's low poly or any of that kind of stuff. You're just immersed in the experience of it all swaying and moving together. So this is now next process in this creative whole workflow, which is every day it's breaking my mind how it's changing in real time. But it's yeah, I once you get through that hump and you see what's on the other side, it's there's so much that could be done. So biggest lessons, takeaways, that's where this is going for. It's like it has to bake. We're doing this live. Is you want to definitely make sure that you are not asking everything of your model. Like don't say hey, one shot this entire scene for me with all these details and all this stuff, it's going to come out with garbage. It's going to use up all your API tokens. And so, yeah, it's not something you want to do. um, let's see here. Make it still going. So right now it's still just tinkering up. It's creating literally those notes that we were talking about, but now little bit confusing. As I guess I'll go over this now. So before we go over here, actually I'm going to get rid of this so everyone can see. There it is. Okay, so when we go over to geometry nodes, let's see here. Yeah, with geometry nodes, can basically it was a means, and geometry nodes is something that is again a method to create scenes procedurally, and procedurally it's just a fancy word for just the way we have it set up. It's just based on um, that the logic that's in there. So but yeah, geometry nodes is how everyone is doing all of the big splatters, or there's big forests, and you'll have hundreds and hundreds of leaves and grass. It's all done through geometry nodes, but it's a bit complex. Like if we go here, this is another one, and this, okay. So I don't want to get too confusing. I don't want to miss anything, but let me just do it right now. There's a difference between compositing and geometry nodes. I know it's a little bit much. And shading. Okay, I'll go over those real quickly. So with shading, we're very used to this, right? It's just how we get our shade. It puts it in a nice HDR environment behind us so that we can get a good sense of light and balance and all that. That's shading, right? We can do all kinds of stuff here, make it change however we want, make it reflective. But in geometry nodes, it is the same thing here, a bit tricky. Oh, I skipped again. So, right. So I wanted to make a point of that. So we have shading, which you're used to, right? With the HDR in the background. And then we have compositing. Don't need to know about this, but this is another place where you could put those nodes, like have a node tree, just like we were showing. And then also, of course, geometry nodes, which is, again, super powerful. It's the way to occupy your scene, fill it up with foliage, rocks, pebbles, all kinds of stuff. So with that, and kind of how it's, a lot of people have designed what they do in geometry nodes. Not that it's the only one way, but they do it in a. It's like, yeah, geometry nodes. It's it's very complex, and there's a lot of math behind it. Um, you're not going to get out of geometry nodes without having to really think through things. But again, it's incredible. And so let's see where, okay. Do you want me to create? Yes, of course I'd like you to create. Let's do yes to all edits during this session, and then I don't have to go back to it. And by the way, this is with Claude Code. This is an agent. This is not like the chat window that you have access to. With this, it can download things for you. It can search the internet. I mean, same as the other ones, but this one can even organize your computer if you want to. Say your files are all messed up and you wanted to clean them up, Claude Code, because it actually can go inside and do things to your computer, which is the power of the agents. Okay, so it looks like it got us something right here. We have this particle system .py, which is Python. And let's see, where'd you save it? Right here, it's saved to this. So all we have to do is go and navigate to that same area. Because, yeah, wrote it all out. Everything looks good. And then he even put here, there's what it creates, a star mesh, 5-point low poly star flat triangulated pinwheel. Look at all this. And then the emitter, the geonode graph, the material world, all these pieces to the puzzle, especially if you're not trying to create very detailed, fine work. Like, yeah, of course you need your hands, or you're really good with AI to get that thing. Um, but we want right off the bat, we want to have things as simple as possible. Um, that way, you know, it's gonna make it a lot easier on us. Okay. So yeah, let me go get to that file real quick. And alrighty, documents. And where did we save it? It's an antibody star particle, so it's just hanging out. Just do a search up so it downloads. Okay. What's that? How? Oh, it's just put in the main thing. Goodness gracious. Here, if that happens and it's like put it in a weird spot, you can say, please put the Python script on the desktop. And just like I was saying before, it lives on your computer. Not technically, but it can affect your computer. Press enter there. And now I don't have to find where this file was. It'll say, oh, okay, I'll put it right here in the desktop for you. See, done. So I put it on the desktop, so I don't have to, worry about it. And that's another thing I really wanted to show, how you can use Claude as a co-pilot for all of this stuff. I mean, obviously, like with Meshy and these things, but this is like, um, having a brain, like a dev brain right behind you to figure out stuff, and then you can focus on the art. You can focus on the fun part of what it's doing. So, yeah. Anyways, it's a lot of philosophical ideology as far as like the workflow and the mindset and how to work with AI. So, okay, so now they put it on the desktop for me. It's another project, excuse me. Okay. So, where is it? Uh, my gosh. Yeah, let's take off these stacks. My computer's gonna look nasty for a second. Excuse me. um, where is it? Where is it? Just do search. Or it might even be in recents too. Sorry, my stuff is all. Did it actually save though? This is an interesting thing because I'm like looking for it. Let me see. Desktop. Just searched .py for Python. Desktop. Press enter. Or we can get just the name itself. Yeah, star particles. Let's just do that. Excuse me. Circ R has underscore. Cat. So there. Or, see, I'm having a hard time finding it. We order it to do it again. Say, place Python, and what you can do if you have a particular folder you want it to be in, you can go. Oh shoot, we're not in Windows. But yeah, yeah, you can basically tell it where to go, where to link it to. So I'm gonna just make a new folder and call this illust AI particles. All right. And then perfect. Now I'm gonna do something real quick. Shouldn't be this complicated for you. Just bear with me. What was he doing? Yeah. Oh no. The list, there it is. AI particles. Okay, if I just right click on him, I get some information. This gives me the basically the extension or the navigation to this folder. So I'm just telling it. Once I right clicked on it, press info, and you can go over here. Yeah, where? It's this right here. And if you right click that, or you see this rare button, you can say just copy, or you can use your control C for copy, and then say please place Python script here, and then boom, put it in like that, just as we copied it from before. And I'm gonna put one more forward slash because I don't think that copied over, but it was illust AI particles. It has to be spelled exactly the same way. Although I think Claude actually might be able to put it together. If you have misspellings and stuff like that, it's pretty crazy. It's almost like the a spell check type of thing. So we're going to test that out. I didn't have it exactly the way it is, but see if Claude will put that now into this folder. Let me clean this up for you guys. Sorry about that. No, that didn't work. Use stacks. That's what we want. Okay, so now desktop's clean. We're going to go over to the illust live particles or the illust AI particles. And look, it saved it right there for us. We don't have to do anything besides check this now. This is the next step. So now we know where this Python script is, right? We can go inside of Blender back into Blender, and we can do, if we go over to see these top tabs here, we're going to go to the scripting tab. Now, let me see if this works. It should be, yep, it's a drag and drop. Perfect. So once you have that script, let me just do that again because I did really quickly. So this is, let's go back here. We're in layout, normal stuff. We own all this. And then we're going to go straight to scripting all the way at the end. What's really cool is that there are a lot of people, yeah, of course they're using scripting and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's just kind of, there's a reason why it's at the edge. It's one of those things that you're not really getting to unless you're really bookworming into the dev work. Because you'll see, like, look, let me just make that clear one more time. I'm gonna go from home to scripting, right? All the way at the end. Usually not something you mess with, but this is what we're going to be having a time with. And then all you have to do is go to this folder right here that we had everything in, and we're going to drop it in here, and boom, look at all that beautiful, beautiful code, Python script. Now, I'm going to test this one out, and all you have to do to test it out, and it usually works better when you have an empty scene, like there's nothing here. So this is perfect. That's why another reason why we grabbed everything and we press A and then we press X, and it deletes all selected objects. And that has to be in the viewport display on object mode. See that? Now we go back to scripting, so all the way at the very end on the top. And what we'll see is kind of a rundown of what Claude has built here. And this is kind of it's gonna look weird at first, but this is where it's at. This is so cool. You essentially can build your own plugins to create all kinds of different effects. I call them generators because, like, you can generate all kinds of different animations, text, all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, but Python scripts are very powerful. So, like, yeah, without further ado, once we have the Python script put in, all we have to do is press the play button. And now, as you see, this is what Claude did. He gave me an HDRI, which is pretty neat, or HDR. So now I zoom around, you can see all this. Pretty neat. Let's see here. Let's go back to the original prompt though. Oh, not here. It was here. Okay. So he says, what did we ask it? Make a geometry node particle system with Python. So right there, the particle system might have thrown it off. So what I'm just going to say is just make a geometry node like tornado or geometry node particle tornado or vortex. So let's put that in. And this is where, it does help to know some vocabulary just so that you know how to describe it. And then Claude really, really gets it. So make me a geometry node particle system with Python plus Blender. Okay. And then here we're gonna erase that now. And I'm gonna adjust it slightly. Oh well. Delete all this by hand. Thanks. Okay, so then um, we could do, instead of making me a geometry particle system, which is a bit broad, and you could see, I mean, you could technically say this is kind of like a particle system, although it's not. It's just, yeah, it's a still image, but it gives you depth when you look around it in VR. It's all cool. So that's pretty neat that it did that actually. And I maybe should highlight that a second. And then it looks like they did something with the shaders too. So if we go into shading and then we go into, yeah, well, one, you get to see all that and what that does to things. Here, put this like that. Okay, so yeah, essentially, um, and then let's see here. So I'm just going to try to pull up what Claude did material wise. It doesn't look anything fancy here, but the fact that, it would set that up for you and it can get really crazy, but right now it's just simple. Okay, so um, where is it? Okay, yeah. We want to go to world just okay, so nothing crazy here, but it did set up this two node chain. So you have this background with these with the world output, and then it looks like this actually, yeah, is movable. So Claude must have made a giant, yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, it's a big dome of all these um what are these? Yeah, little sparkles everywhere, right? So it really took what we were saying, and even looking here, where Claude Code packed in all these stars too, and then it makes me wonder if Claude even tried to animate it a little bit. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We don't have to get there yet, but yeah, just wanted to show one, Claude did that, and then two, um, check out the geometry notes. This is a little bit cooler of what you're seeing in front of you has been done. So if I look at it, you can actually read what's going on through here. So it's distributing faces, faces on point, realizing instances, and you realize the instances that it's um, pulling from. I know I'm kind of going fast, but maybe if I could show you guys how to think about this, because it's just like music. If you're ever into music or has hooked up amps and all kinds of gear, it's the signal flows. You're gonna have a brain for it because you already understand all kinds of stuff, and it you get really creative with it. But anyways, so if we want to read this is what Claude put together. He has a created a start instance, which is, I believe, these. Yep. So these little start instances things that are emitters, and follow this line. See this line, this green line? We're going to follow that green line. and see it's plugged into instances for instance cells on point. So what this essentially means is that there's a bunch of points on a vertice, right? If you have like anything, head or hands, or there's all these different vertices, and there's also edges and faces, right? But on this particular, and that's what I'm saying, geometry nodes can get a little bit much. That is going into the points, right? So we have this instance was that tiny little star, and it's going to the instances on points of this big dome. So now, essentially, we have the ability to stretch them from here. That's another cool thing. So this is all procedurally done. Let's see here. Pull this on. Get that. Right here, yeah. So we can do this. You can make it a fuzzy ball if you want. All of this can be, basically adjusted here in real time. And it's all based off, another beautiful thing about it, it's all based off of math and like, and randomness. And if you go over here, yeah, it gives you like endless variety. And you put crank a little bit of random on it, then place all these different pinpoints. And let me just try to show you those real quick. So yeah, let's see here. Is there a dome? I see a camera. Let's go back to geometry nodes so you can see that. Okay. And then the points are coming from the geometry, and that's coming from the mesh. Huh. Well, yeah, usually I can see the geometry, and then be able to highlight it, whatever. Just wanted to showcase the fact, because it can be a little bit tricky sometimes, what's going on here under the hood. And essentially it's just like, imagine is like, just like you've seen any, um, 3D image, it's all wireframed and everything like that. Each one of the pinpoints, you'll have a new sprouting of a new thing. So you could cover it in rocks, you could cover it in leaves. That's what I'm saying. It's really good for surrounding stuff like that. But yeah, and so our first attempt at the particle system didn't go right, but like I said, I think the way we're adjusting this is going to be perfect. So make me a geometry node particle system with Python Blender, make the stars low poly, and then let's see here. Low poly, and then we want to, oh yeah, we want it to be a tornado. Or like a vortex, right? And so now, not because if you saw, like, it's like Claude can be like the monkey paw. It's like he'll give you what you asked for or what you wish for, but it always is like, you didn't expect this part. Here's a bazillion headaches that I threw at you as well. So the more I feel like pigeonholing the logic is how you get the best. So it's like, instead of a particle system or a very vague thing, you say, I want it to be a tornado. I see a tornado in my mind. I see a vortex. I see, and try to like grab that, see from there and what's going on. And so, yeah, and also to lead the AI so it's forced to do what you have in your mind. Really big tip there. Okay, so, all right, let's press enter. Excuse me, could add that in the background. Okay, so this is going to be the second one that it makes. And another cool thing is, once you get in a groove with making these, you'll start realizing you got a couple of them in your library that you can adjust, do cool things with, recycle, but in a very tasteful way, or develop. Yeah, it becomes so cool because I come from the world, again, from music, or plugins for music equipment or for DAWs and digital audio workstations. Spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on you know virtual instruments and all that kind of stuff. Um, but um, yeah, and freaking with Claude, um, you can you can set up all kinds of things that are and then when you like I said, totally pigeonholing it and making it um logically stay where in the realm that you want it to be in. um okay, yeah, that's what I was saying, is you get into a flow state and you make a bunch of different engines. So for me, I have in my own personal stash, I have lightning, I have fire, I have wind, I have campfires, um dust, any liquid. I have liquid one, right? And it's really neat because now anytime I can pull out those. And what I've been finding with Claude is that it works actually really well. You can because Claude, when it makes, especially I'm going to show you certain things with animation too. When it animates, um, it's um, it's a yeah, when it animates, you really get a sense of like what you can do, and also you're gonna run into some issues. So hopefully this is about done now. 2 minutes. Okay. Mhm. Nah, right now I'm in upstate New York too, so it's a beautiful day outside. It's my gosh, needed to get out of the city for a second. Um, okay, so this one's taking a bit longer. That's fine. I feel like sometimes the best stuff, need the Claude to think on it for a second. But I think that we did it good with that tornado or vortex because how else could you imagine? How else could you see it? So that's the way I like to go with it because, like I said, AI could be like a monkey paw, and where I'm like, no, you're not going to give me $1,000 billion is going to rain on my head. it's you cover all your tracks with AI, because it's always going to do the lazy work. It's always going to want to do the easiest thing, and so obviously, as if it sees, oh, the quickest, from A to B is just a straight line. Um, it works for it, but it does not work for you, and it could, you know, um, it causes all kinds of, you just really can't trust it to do that much. So there's like, this is again another kind of AI tutorial, but it goes into just in a much deeper way to get certain effects that are especially pretty difficult to pull off, regardless. And here's the thing too. I'll share with this while let's keep going. This all came out for me because I love particle systems. I do it all the time in Blender, and the thing is that when I went into augmented reality, so many of the techniques that I have or had for particle systems, um, for when I would do it's like a disintegration and then redisintegration, um, all of that stuff um, is you know uh, way more in the weeds with what we got going on here in Claude. Okay, still at 5 minutes here, but yeah, let's go and maybe we could just delete this one for now. But yes, so once you get these, and I'll show you another thing is when you get it the way you like it, you can have Claude actually do some custom branding for it and syntax. Uh, so you could have, name it the way you want it. A couple of my engines, they're called Adabody engines, or the water or this. It's yeah, anytime you might need those different things, you just really you can pull this Python script and put it on any project. So that's like you're making your own plugins. And like I said, I spent so much of my money and time with everyone else's plugins and everything. This is not technically a plugin. That would be a bit more in depth, but it operates almost exactly like a plugin. You just gotta, adjust some numbers rather than having a clean, um, side UI right here where you can like do these, pull in the slider. Um, but in here, let's see if Claude's done. Oh, he's perfect. Okay, so now it's saved there. It listed. Okay, perfect. Same spot. Now this one is called the Vortex Tornado. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete everything here, or just excuse me, undo. Let me just perfect. Okay. So now that we have a script, it's can get confusing. People, it obviously it's a new thing to play with. The last thing how I showed is you just drag and drop right um your Python script right into this area. But if you look here, Python scripts are actually very similar to materials. So if you go up here on top, there's actually two different systems that we can plug into. And so that's why, like, sometimes in my um, more bigger scenes, I'll have like I actually have like 20 of these going on, and sometimes just experiment with them and see how I can place it. But yeah, I always think of them, like I said, as like closest things to a plugin that you can get. And it is custom to you and what you like in your art style, which is freaking super cool. Okay, so a lot of talking. I'm going to put, now that let me show you how I did that again. Of course, we're going to be in layout. And then we're going to go over to scripting very at the end. We're going to get that new Star Vortex Tornado Python script and just drag and drop. Boom. And look, it made me look good because exactly what I was saying, what would happen, or the little, parameters that you can adjust, they're all right here. And there's nothing more intense than this than adjusting it here. These are, it's just numbers, and something to get comfortable with this. It's actually to start adjusting it like that, instead of the tornado height being 10, we wanted 20, double the size. And, you start going through the settings, but then you also get more and more comfortable with reading the code and inspecting it. So, anyways, you really don't even have to do all that. All I'm just kind of over explaining or giving more extra context, I'd say. So let's go ahead and turn. Oh, there we go. Again, we go over here, get that Python script, drag it in. We get all these different settings. And before we adjust, I'm going to see what it looks like by pressing this play button. Mm. Oop. Let's see here. Okay, just running that. Okay, so this is a total dud, it looks like. Yeah. Press all and then X. Wow, 5 minutes to give me nothing, but I think it's fine. And then, so you can also talk back with Claude and tell him where he messed up. And be like, hey, that last Python script had nothing in it. Um, uh, no objects or part or systems. Start system. And then say, um, please fix, right? And then, so hopefully it'll go through the Python script fix all those little those details, and hopefully it doesn't take long since I already had something to work with. But if anything, I see the time, and this is like I said, it's one of those ones like I was even thinking about breaking it up because there's a lot that goes into it. But the if you can grab anything from this one, I would say get on Claude, get Claude Code. When you're in Claude Code, then you could do then you can actually work, because if you try to work with Claude, the window, like ChatGPT, um, you're not going to be able to work. You really can't. You're going to get somewhere really close, and then all of a sudden it says, "Hey, see you tomorrow." So that's huge. Get Claude Code, and then the second thing is that when you make these Python scripts, is look at this. It's all code and it's all like super crazy. A lot of people will be like roll their eyes after the first after the first couple letters. But if you see here, and especially if you ask Claude to do that, he'll give you the controls in a much more aesthetically pleasing way. You can focus on the UI and all kinds of things. It's been fun, yeah, because like I said, some of the engines that I have are I would say near and dear to my artistic heart and stuff like that. So it's kind of like part of my visual identity that I'm building up. Um, but it's these really, they're like close to a plugin. These Python scripts that you can right make all kinds of cool things. So this is just geometry nodes. Um, there's a whole other sector that we can go into in many other situations, but I figured this one would be the easiest to kind of sink your teeth into. Go delete that. Delete this one too. Just want to delete everything. And perfect. So now we have a completely empty scene again. And we did it finish. Oh, it's still going. So that's part of the back and forth with the AI as an assistant. And you'll find out that AI can do a lot. It's still got a long ways to go for for a lot of things, especially in 3D. And so, but I always think of it as like, give me a good starting point, or give me, how can I reuse things? And of course, that's very obvious with Meshy, because, if you generate a bunch of chairs and stuff like that, you could reuse all that. But this is different. It's like effects. And here's a really cool thing about these effects. Is that most of them are very friendly with augmented reality. Um, in many other ways, or ways that you make particle systems or all that stuff, even water, um, those those are usually ran from simulations, and those simulations can be a pain in the butt to get into augmented reality. So instead, um, it's kind of like your brute force attacking it. If you had a million years, you can animate real randomness and all kinds of stuff like that. Pot, Claude puts it like right together. So now something that would have taken a team of years, that were just so much math and measurements, it's right at your fingertip, and you can um, make the experience um, really fun, and yeah, open up a lot to it. This and then it's like what's really cool. Another thing I keep saying, other cool things is it's just, the way we build this is all going to be in 3D. So it's like you get depth with it. You have something you can recycle. It's something you know that I guess it went through. Um, Yeah, that it's essentially like having a dev on your side, um, and he not very good at drawing, but he speaks code, and this is essentially it. All right, okay, so done. Here's what was broken and what's fixed. Root causes for the empty scene. So now it's just going through all that. Again, you don't even have to know about all this stuff. This is like, real nitty gritty stuff. If I go here, make sure it's a new refreshed one. 102. Okay, perfect. That's the one. And then I'll make this real quick. Sorry about that. It's a lot to cover here. Okay, so this is the brand new one. And hopefully it works. Give it a second. Give it a second. Oh, nothing. Nope, nope, nope. Let's try. Let's see if we run it. If maybe it gives us an error somehow. No, looking good actually on over here. So it must also be Claude messing up again, or just kind of not, getting. It's like, and I wouldn't even say he's not getting it, or she or he, whoever you personify Claude as. But um, but it something not to give up on though when you're working with Claude is that he might be like 95% there. And if you like throw another wrench into the bucket or into the cogs, it could do more harm than good. Let me see here. But yeah, hopefully that was a nice one. Let me see here to the Termix. I really wanted to get a presentation working for you guys live, but like I said, I already have my own engines. Still didn't work. And, obviously there's way more advanced ways that you can operate Claude, but I just wanted to show it the easiest way, real natural language, so still didn't work. What can you do to, or just say, still didn't work, please fix. Nothing shows up when I press play the script. And so another thing that's really interesting is you got to think about like Claude does not have eyes and ears. And so he's like, or it is waiting for the feedback from us so that it knows that that code is actually viable. Because, it might look elegant and perfect to the AI, but when the when it might look totally elegant to AI, but not to not to us.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, Adamati.
Uh-huh.
We're just at the hour mark. I just want to give folks an opportunity if they need a jet, just to
Okay.
say goodbye.
Right.
If you, I'm happy to stick around and kind of I'm locked in right now. I want to see this play out. And but if anyone needs a jet, no worries. Next week we're going to be doing a Q&A with Adabody. So anything that you want to double click on and get a little bit more insight into, it's gonna be kind of an open forum for us to talk about, ask questions. But yeah, and then as far as today's chat, Attaboy, I'm not sure, do you have any scripts that you've
Right.
that you
Uh-huh.
already have that you don't
Yeah.
necessarily generate on the fly we could play with?
I was trying to do it on the fly for you guys. I'm telling you, it's like you massage it and then it pops. But for generate for purposes that we have here, and also you got to see a little bit. I mean, the workflow too, where you can adjust the different numbers. They all add up to the affecting it in real time. So let's see here. Let's go and get see if we can work. Oh, it's still doing that. So while that's working and possibly making the new one, and trust me, this is exactly how I came up with all of these generators. So it's like it is about massaging it, and then like I said, being the eyes and ears, um, uh, because the code looks great, but we're ultimately the deciders of like, does it work or not, or if it's even showing up. So you gotta kind of give that feedback as if you're on the real world side talking to the dude who's a genius, but he's just locked behind all these doors and things you can't see. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, yeah, we can do. Um, let's do file and see. And there's another thing. Look, let me show you how easy it is to get a script from another project file into this one. So I made an engine earlier before, and you can press file up here and then go to append, and then you can find a project that you did. So I'm going to go to documents, and then do, do, uh, where is it? Okay. Let's see here. What's a good one? Oh yeah, yeah. It's the last one I did. If anything, let's just load up that project file. So let's go over to this actually like is becoming one of my favorites as time goes on because I've been having so much fun with um how it like actually levels underneath your hand and I feel like I'm holding it, people want to touch it and just having a ball with this. This is a combination of multiple engines working simultaneously together. Um, and we're gonna have another question and answer and everything set up for extra details at another time. And just really, wanted to show you how this works real quick. But again, you know, there's more or less advanced ways to do this, and this is probably more on the advanced side, but I wanted to start you guys off with the geometry nodes because you can animate it really simply afterwards. Uh, okay, so it seems like it cooked. Let's go so I don't mess with anything. And I appreciate you guys' patience. Thank you, Rob. I this I think it's gonna make everyone click when they see it. Um, so again, go to the illust. Ah, my eyes. There it is. Okay. It says that it just did it. Okay. Get info. Yeah, 106. Okay, so this should be the one. I'm going just because I have this prepared. Just going to grab all this. So press hide. Awesome. Because we actually don't want anything being affected by this Python script. That's another thing I wanted to let you know. So when we are doing any kind of Python script, you generally want these things, or especially with Claude, you want these all the other objects to be hidden because it will actually erase them. And I found that out, in many bad ways a lot of times. But anyways, yeah, make sure everything's turned off. Go back into scripting and pull in our brand new edited, Python script, and we're gonna press play. Come on, give it to me. Give it. Yeah, spinning wheel. Perfect. Perfect. That's what we want to see. Okay. Okay. So this is probably not my first choice, but none the matter is you get the sense of it, right? Where it's like generating that, and it's all based off of your word play. So, and also it animates as a vortex. And I'll say it again. AI is always going to take the shortcut. It's always going to have the easy way out. So you got to really say, this one looks more like a Christmas tree. And I want some more variation in the way it moves. I don't want it to all be so stagnant together. And so in unison, I want there to be offset. I want some to be smaller, bigger. I want randomness added to it. So, again, I'm giving you kind of like the mindset, not necessarily super walking through a step by step in the tutorial, although what you can definitely do that. Okay, so let me just X this out. At least we got something to show. Yeah, it popped up and I also showed you how the massaging process of of being the eyes and ears for Claude, as you are, yeah, exploring all these new things and giving feedback to Claude. It's it's really it makes it really fun too. But anyways, let's go in here and just reopen this one. Save. Okay, so if we look here at this one, this is the one I did. It's called Crystal Stream. Um, and let's put it on full render right now. And if you look here, this is really neat because we have, like I was telling you, I have a couple different engines going on here. So I have what I call, and look, this is also another thing to show you could see the branding that you could do. Look at the top where it says add a body particle, Claude, um, all this type of thing gives you detailed instructions on how to use it. So I made sure that because anytime I go back to a project after I have not been in it in a minute, I want to have notes for me to follow along so I know what's going on and pick up right where I left off. So again, it's a nice UI, shows you everything. And then you have the ability to make these changes right here. So that's is, I kind of made this layout to make it easier for my eyes. So have fun with it. This is your, it's code, but again, you can make it look aesthetically pleasing. You can make it the layout the way you want. Just work with Claude to get that. So with that, so yeah, we have with this object here, I actually have a sphere one. I have a low poly orbit one, and I have the particle swarm one. And yeah, so what that kind of amalgamates to or turns into altogether is where I have particle systems, but I also have this web, which is, I named it the particle swarm, but it's like a web. Um, and then I stack that on top of other uh, uh, slightly different behaviors in the particle systems. So one's going to be like, oh no, okay, my computer just froze it for a second. Okay, so yeah, so now you can kind of get a sense. One, the colors are different, but you also see how slightly I adjusted the engines to create new textures that would, kind of flow around it, type of thing. So yeah, is like when right now my has been jazzing me up the wall. It's so much fun. In AR2, you could just blast things like this everywhere. Particles are just fun. They add a lot to the surroundings, and so yeah, that's a big one. Okay, and then like I said, there's more to go over. We're gonna have another um, school to brush up on it, but yeah, essentially at this point. I wanted to show you guys one more thing because everything else you guys already know how to do. Bring everything into illust, but I wanted to show you how the convenience of this real quick. It used to be, or any times, like this is something so complicated that you needed a simulation to do it. Otherwise, you would manually do things and do kinds of boodads. You don't got to do any of that. It's a total new workflow. And look at what Claude already does. And so that's what I'm saying. If you try to make it build a skull, it can't do it. It's so wild. And I've tried different meshes and all kinds of stuff, and it fails big time. But you give it math, you give it algorithm, you give it, just like it really is. It's a math problem. This whole sphere right here, and then on top of that, where all these, by the way, if you don't know, this is, I didn't mean to skip over that. These are keyframes, automations. And so you imagine every single one of those dots that are moving around, they have their own path. And look at how thick that gets. And it's all being done right there. And the reason why that's also super important is that it's exports as a GLB perfectly, which is probably one of the biggest issues with working with particle systems. Is they're almost always being like driven by instances, versus this, especially the way you can program it any way which way you want. um, but in this situation, the one you're seeing right here, um, definitely wanted it to, yeah, be exportable into augmented reality. So having these keyframes and also not treating these as instances, it's a little bit deeper talk, but basically, instance is a copy, and we don't want to use we can, but we get a lot less control. Um, so with this, yeah, it's not instance driven. And it's actually each one of these is independent from each other. They have their own path. So you're literally looking at hundreds, if not thousands, or close, but a little over 1,000 beads having all their own independent movement. And then, and then from there on, you can also, extrapolate from your wording, and yeah, freaking have a time with you know yeah, wires, frames, the making the room, and then and then right, you always want to make sure that when you're doing a lot of this stuff, we don't want instances as much as we want real objects, because it converts to AR better. um, I wanted to have time to showcase this, but um, for instance, with the other tornado one that was done, looked like a Christmas tree. Um, there's a way to go into geometry nodes itself and animate and change things up. Um, if you do that inside a Blender and then you export it, it will not capture it in the GLB file. So you have to make sure that it is and you can use instances, but you're not going to get the control. Yeah, just expect, especially like a geometry node, like a wheel, you're going to have just like one turn of the axis that you could do, and it's going to affect all of them at the same time, which is really cool, but kind of a pain. But again, I'm trying to just get as many tips as I can out for these ones, because this, like I said, it gets a little trickier, and it's good to have some knowledge of troubleshooting it, of what's going wrong and how to fix it. But I hope that you guys got a sense of how you do that, right? And what's the method to troubleshooting. And one of the greatest things about AI is you can always ask AI how how to use it better. So sometimes when have an idea or this or that, you could talk to the AI, and the AI will help you figure out how to talk to it and get what you want from it. So, yeah, so let's see here. Just put this on here, and then actually I have it already put up. Let me see here. Thanks so much, Rob. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot to put in. um, okay, and then
For
just
sure. I mean, I
illust.
think the complexity of this is top tier. So
Mhm.
I think the fact that we're able to break it down in even an hour and a half is still pretty good.
Oh, heck yeah. Amazing. Right. And I'm excited also for that last course where we could just, talk through things and ask questions. And we probably be able to get everyone up and running, and troubleshooting all kinds of stuff. But let me go here. What's it called? Um, yeah, it's called Crystal Stream. There it is. So I go here, and then we're gonna do AR preview. All right, now everyone check it out. So this is an example of what you can turn on uh, with the different engines that you can create Python scripts. Uh, so this is like, yeah, this is one that I spent a second, like I wanted to see how they could mesh and form together, and create, like I was saying, variations in their behavior. um, and that takes a second, but it's also fun. It's like literally the most fun part about it, because then now you're like, you have Claude on your side, but then two, you're able to adjust all the parameters to get the way you want. Um, and then at that point, you're just painting. You're just having fun. So yeah, that's my presentation for today.